What's up, Internet? It's your boy, the Notorious B.I.V. And thanks for joining me today for the show. And we got to talk Snyderverse, baby. So I saw the Snyder Cut. I did subscribe to HBO Max momentarily, so I could see the Snyder Cut, and it was pretty dang good. But just right up front, I just want to say this. So before we get into the review, I'm not sure you can really compare the Snyder Cut to like the original Justice League for a couple of reasons. Okay, so and by the way, I took notes, baby. I got notes. So let's get into this. So I mean, had Zack Snyder actually finished his cut of the movie, and released it when it was released, like when was that? Like 5 years ago, something like that. It wouldn't. First of all, it wouldn't have been 4 hours long. Okay, the studio would never have let him make a 4 hour long movie, so it wouldn't have been 4 hours long. And plus, he's got the benefit of hindsight. You know what I mean? Like, people have seen the Justice League movie. It's been 5 years, and he knows, right? He knows that, okay, people thought Steppenwolf looked a little derpy, so let's fix that. And they didn't like this, and they didn't like that, and they wanted to see the black suit, and blah blah blah. Like he knows these things, right? So of course you're going to be able to correct things. You're going to be able to make a better movie, right? And I'm not a big fan of Joss Whedon. But I don't hate him either. I mean, I thought Firefly was decent. I didn't watch Buffy, and Avengers Age of Ultron was probably the weakest Avengers movie of all of them. And I don't really love or dislike Zack Snyder either. I mean, I really liked The Watchmen. I thought that was a really good adaptation of that comic book. I didn't make it through 300, honestly. Like I got partway through, and I just was like, yeah, I'll come back and watch this, and then I never did because I was just like, it wasn't that great. I mean, it was all right, but it didn't catch my attention really. And then I like Batman v Superman. Remember now, Zack Snyder also made Batman v Superman, and a lot of people didn't like that. That kind of got mixed reactions. So yeah, I mean, he's got hindsight. It's been 5 years. He got some extra money to make some extra stuff, and so really, that being said, though, yes, this is a much better, more exciting movie. It's a more cohesive story, better character development, just better all around. It really is. So let's get into the review. So first of all, the very first thing I noticed is that it's R-rated. That's interesting. And maybe I'd heard that prior to viewing it, but I was like, it's R-rated. That's odd. What did they do? Like add a couple of F words or something? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm wondering, what that's all about. Especially too because, it didn't get a theatrical release. So how would the MPAA even rate it anyway? You know what I mean? So it almost seemed like kind of a publicity thing, like, it's rated R, when in fact I don't know how it would get an R rating from the MPAA. It wasn't theatrically released, so that was odd to me. I'll point out the rated R moments as we go along. But so first of all, we get this kind of when we start, it's like we get to watch Superman die again, like at the hands of Doomsday, and basically, when Superman dies, his death cry like goes row 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 and like radiates throughout the world, and and it basically like wakes up the mother boxes is the implication. Like Superman's death makes the mother boxes start freaking out. So we see the mother box in Cyborg's apartment. He's got it in the closet, sitting in the closet there, which is kind of funny. And then and then it goes to like Atlantis, and like their mother box starts like bouncing around, and then we see Themyscira, and their mother box is like doing stuff, right? And so it's like, ooh, the mother boxes are awake. I guess the implication is like Superman was like the defender of Earth, and now he's dead or something. So I found part one really kind of just disjointed, and I was having a hard time getting into the movie until for these first few scenes. So you've got you got Bruce Wayne going to the little Icelandic village or whatever to find Aquaman, and Aquaman says, "No, man, not interested. Whatever, later." And there was an odd scene, like, so Aquaman, like, unshirts, right? Like he always does. We have to have several unshirting scenes of Aquaman. And, goes into the water and, like, dives in and whatever. And then there's this weird scene with these, like, Icelandic girls, like, singing this little, like, hymn to Aquaman or something as he goes under the waves. And it just, like, goes on for a little longer than I was expecting. I'm like, do we really need that? Like, you've only got so much time here, Zack Snyder. Like, was that really important to have the little singing Icelandic girls? Anyway, that was weird to me. And then we get the the Wonder Woman scene where there are some terrorists in some museum and have a bunch of hostages, and she has to go rescue them. And she just, when Wonder Woman comes in, she's just like slamming these dudes like it was cray. Like, like she's like slamming these guys into walls and like throwing guys on the floor and just like, and I'm like at supersonic speed, right? And I'm just like, okay, I think that guy's just dead. Like, I think she's just murdered these guys. And sure enough, like a few scenes later, like you see like there's like a blood stain on the wall, and like some dude like one of the dudes just dead there lying in a pool of his own blood, and I'm like, so Diana just like straight up murdered these dudes. That's interesting. And then so I guess that was like the first rated R moment. I guess it's like there's a little bit of blood. I don't know. And I guess like the terrorists, I was wondering like what the point of this scene was, other than to give Diana a cool action scene. But she has like cool action scenes later in the film anyway. So but the terrorists, I guess their whole plan too was just to like blow themselves up along with like 4 city blocks. So just to like make a statement or something. I don't know I didn't really understand what the whole point of that was. And Diana, so I guess if she murdered, I mean, they were already on a suicide mission, so I guess if she murders them, it's okay. I don't know. But she like murders these dudes in front of all these little like schoolgirls, and they're like, oh, and then one of them's like, oh, Diana, I want to be just like you when I grow up. And she's like, you can be anything you want and murder anyone you want. Anyway, that was a really weird scene. But it did seem cooler than it was in the original version. And again, I didn't go back and watch the original version because why the hell would I? But to compare them. But that scene was in the original movie, but it just seemed like to pop more this time around. And so then we go to Themyscira, and they have their big battle with Darkseid for the Mother Box. And they lose. He friggin' hands them their asses, and that was kind of weird. Like, and that scene as well seemed a little bit cooler than before. and like I said, they tweaked Steppenwolf, so he actually does. So he looks like way better in this one. But again, hindsight, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, people didn't like the original one, so they spruced him up a little bit. And I don't know what the Amazon's plan was. I guess they're just like gonna like run the mother box around their island until Steppenwolf gets tired or something. I don't know. Anyway, he gets the box, and and then they get this like the ancient arrow of awesomeness, and like light it on fire and shoot it into the air, and it goes and sails away, and happens to land in the vicinity of where Wonder Woman is, and lights some little like these little ruins on fire, and so Wonder Woman goes there, and she just like walks past the police line and up to these charred ruins. I guess she's got clearance. I don't know. And she like picks up the arrow, which is evidence, because at this point they think that like it's been vandalized or something. But she like just takes the arrow and is like, okay. And then we see her just like jump down into some cavern that's underneath this place that I guess no one's ever noticed before. And she's walking around in this little cavern, and down some stairs. Well, it's not a little cavern; it's like a huge cavern. And she the arrow like fits right into this arrow print in a door and lets her in. And she looks at some pictographs of Darkseid and parademons and stuff. And apparently that you know that tells her that, oh, an invasion's coming, or something, which is odd. Anyway, like I said, I didn't really enjoy this part of the movie all that much. Um, so so next we have Aquaman, and he rescues. And this was another scene that I was like, what was the point of that? But Aquaman rescues some fisherman dude in a boat that's like, on the stormy seas, and it's about to go down, and all of a sudden Aquaman's there to save this guy, but then then he hauls him in over his shoulder into this bar, and like throws him down on the table, and he's like, and he says something about like, you guys need to respect the storm or something like that, right? And he like grabs a bottle of whiskey and he says, it's on that guy, and walks out and like swigs his whiskey and like jumps in the water and goes and visits Atlantis. And the funny thing about Aquaman is like he's always he's always fully dressed, right? Like when he rescues the dude out on the boat, he's bare chested and just has his pants on, right? But then when he walks into the bar, he throws the guy down, and he's got his like black tank top on and his boots, right? And he walks out of the bar with his tank top and his boots on, and then again we have the unshirting, and he dives into the water, and I'm like, where does he get all of his shirts and boots? Like, where do those come from? Because he like kicks him off and dives in the water every time, and it's like, anyway, whatever. So that scene I thought was weird. I don't know why they put that in there. But then we get to the big battle with Darkseid, and this time, so in the original movie, I'm pretty sure there was no Darkseid at all. And again, I don't know if Zack Snyder intended for Darkseid to be in the movie originally, and then he wasn't for some reason. Maybe they hadn't finished him by then, and so they just used what they had, which was Steppenwolf. But the original movie was just like all Steppenwolf, and you never even saw Darkseid really. So this was cool. So when they had the big like historic battle again with men and Atlanteans and Amazonians against in the original theatrical version, it was against Steppenwolf, I believe. So it was a battle against Steppenwolf, and they beat him back and whatever, and he took off. Well, this time it was actually Darkseid that was, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm pretty sure in the original it was they fought Steppenwolf, But in this one, it's actually Darkseid, and it's really cool. And again, I thought just the way it was edited and put together, it made a lot more sense and was kind of cooler. The They made it more. What they explained more, like the dude shooting lightning and stuff. That was actually Zeus. And a lot of people in the original film were watching that, going, "Oh, that's like the wizard Shazam and stuff." But in this, it actually says, that guy was Zeus, and they have Ares, Zeus and Ares, his son, are fighting Darkseid, and Ares actually lands the near death blow to Darkseid, and they have to retreat. He and his forces have to retreat. And there was also a chick with these flaming hands and shooting arrows and stuff. I guess was that Diana or Athena, something like that. So they were the gods. So the old gods, men. Then you had the Atlanteans and the Amazonians, and that was a really cool battle in this. I think it was way cooler than in the original version. So next we're introduced to Barry Allen, and he has this cool scene where he rescues Iris West Allen. I guess she's Iris West at this point, and we're not told that, but that's who she is basically. And I thought this scene was in the original film as well, but it was in this one. It was I'm pretty sure it was extended, and it was way cooler than in the original movie. And Barry Allen and Cyborg Luther are both get more development in this one, which is great. And they actually do cool stuff, which we'll get to in the end. And so I really liked that aspect of this the Snyder version, just because we get more Barry Allen, we get more Cyborg, we kind of get more of a feel of who they are. Because in the original, I mean, these were brand new characters. Like in the theatrical version, these are two brand new characters we'd never seen before, and they just kind of show up in the movie and are just kind of there, and there's not a whole lot of explanation and stuff around them. So I really liked them a lot more in this version. So next, Steppenwolf goes to Atlantis and beats them down and steals their mother box. And I found it odd that Amber Heard in this film has like a British accent, and I was like, that's weird. Like, did she have a British? I don't remember her having a British accent in the original film, but maybe she did. But it's weird because she does. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have an accent in the Aquaman movie. So that kind of like threw me for a second. So then they have the underground fight where they have to go rescue those. They have like Steppenwolf and the parademons have taken all these scientists and stuff prisoner, and so the newly formed Justice League has to go rescue all these people, and again, like, that scene just was way cooler in this one than it was in the original, than I remember it being. Diana has some really amazing parts where she's just like, kicking parademon ass, and it was awesome. And the Flash is better too in this one. In the original, I remember the Flash like saying to Batman, "Oh, I don't know what the crap I'm doing. I've never done superhero stuff before," right? And Batman's just like, "Don't worry, just like rescue people and like don't get killed," or whatever. And in this one, like, Barry's actually like he never utters that line. He's just like, he's more competent, and he's an actual superhero, not like some wimpy dude. So I liked that better too. Like I said, they did Flash a lot better in this one than they did in the original. So after they beat Steppenwolf, he has to retreat, and he goes back to his little lair where he has two of the mother boxes, and they start like speaking to him, and he has this little vision where he's, the mother boxes like take him to this valley or whatever, and he like smacks the ground, and it like, and all of a sudden like the anti-life equation appears on the ground, and the anti-life equation is like a big deal in the comics. It's basically, I guess, I don't know a lot about it, but it's I would say it's like it's DC's version of the Infinity Stones. Basically, is what the anti-life equation is, and like Darkseid is Thanos. I don't. Marvel and DC were always stealing from each other, so I don't know who came up with. I don't know who came first, Darkseid or Thanos, but they're both like copies of each other, and both serve pretty much the same purpose in the Marvel universe and the DC universe. So the anti-life equation, just think of it as like as the Infinity Stone. So basically, Darkseid's like contacts Steppenwolf contacts Darkseid, and he's like, dude, I found the anti-life equation. It's here on Earth. And Darkseid's like, oh, dude, okay. Well, maybe you don't suck so much after all. So then Darkseid's like, yeah, let's do this. Get me that third mother box, mother. And so it's on, right? So Darkseid's ready to come down. And then we get like one of the weirdest scenes. Like, I don't know why this scene was even in the movie. Well, it was in the original movie. Basically, Martha, Clark's mom visits Lois Lane, and they have their little like moment where they're talking and whatever, and Martha's like, don't give up, Lois, you need to go back to work and do what you were meant to do and all that stuff, right? And she gives her a little pep talk, and this was all in the original movie. Well, then as Martha's leaving, they added this part to the Snydercut, which was weird to me. So as she's leaving, she leaves, and she's like, and she turns into Martian Manhunter. So it's not actually Martha, it's Martian Manhunter. And he's like, Lois, we need you to be in the fight too, or something like that, right? So it was just really like out of nowhere, like Martian Manhunter as Martha goes to visit Lois Lane and to give her a little pep talk. It was really odd. And again, like Martian Manhunter, I don't think he's like a fan favorite, right? I'm sure he has I'm sure there are fans of Martian Manhunter, but I was expecting, I think a lot of fans were expecting Green Lantern in this movie, and Martian Manhunter just seemed like kind of like, sorry, we couldn't get Green Lantern. Here's Martian Manhunter. So that was really weird. It was a really weird scene. It was really weird that they framed it that way. That like again, in the original, it was just Martha visiting Lois Lane, and that was fine. We were just like, okay, that's cool. But in this one, she's actually Martian Manhunter. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about Martian Manhunter because he appears one more time. But there was also this scene where Lois wakes up in her bed and like opens this drawer, and there's like a pregnancy test in there, and I'm like, okay, is she pregnant? Is she carrying like I don't think they would just stick that in there for no reason, right? So I guess they're kind of hinting that maybe she's pregnant with Superman's kid, or maybe they're foreshadowing that she's going to have Superman's kid at some point. I don't know. That was really interesting to me though. So that's right before we have before they resurrect Superman, and so they resurrect Superman, and he fights them, and the Superman fight, it was pretty similar to the original version, so that was all right, and But then, of course, resurrecting Superman alerts Steppenwolf to where the final mother box is, right? And he comes and takes it from my. I forget his name in the movie, but I just call him Miles Dyson because he's Miles Dyson from T2. And so he he before Steppenwolf takes the mother box, he like zaps it with a laser thing that actually like ends up killing him because he's in this chamber with it, and he zaps it with a laser so that it like basically makes it really hot inside. So it's like the hottest thing on Earth, basically, and so then the Justice League can track it, and so the Justice League, we're gonna go get it, even though Luthor's really sad that he just lost his dad, and so then Superman goes back to, we see Superman in his ship, and he's like looking at all of his outfits, right? He's like trying to pick out an outfit, and there were all these quotes that they were playing as he's like walking through his ship, from Pa Kent, who was Kevin Costner in the original movie. Pa Kent he was Pa Kent in in Man of Steel, right? Pa Kent and Jor-El, right? Superman's two dads, right? So there are all these quotes going on while he's walking through his ship, looking at all his suits and whatever. And I wondered if those were actual quotes from like Man of Steel, or if they had like if they'd recorded new quotes or something, because they really fit really well together. They were like Jor-El saying this, and then Pa Kent saying this, and then Jor-El. It was like they were like saying the same thing, right, to their son. And I thought that was really cool. The quotes just fit really well. And again, I don't know if those were already existing, or if they actually recorded those specifically for this scene. But they went, if they were the already existing quotes, that was pretty amazing, because they fit so well. So then we have the big final battle, and there's this really cool, like, in Avengers, when I think it was actually Avengers Age of Ultron, they had that really cool like slow-mo shot all of a sudden where like all 5 Avengers were in the frame, and they're all like in action poses or whatever. They have one of those here in the Snyder Cut with the Justice League, so that was pretty cool. And other than that, they win, obviously. The final battle is way cool. It's the final battle was really well done. Again, it seemed to be better in this one than in the original, and I love how they, Cyborg plays his little part here at the end, and kind of, he and Flash both have really good arcs in this version, which is good, because again, we don't know these characters at all, right? They just appear in this movie, and but they both have really good character arcs, so that was nice. And I love too how, like, so the portal's about to open, or the portal does open, right? And you see Darkseid and Desaad and this other chick standing in the portal, like he's ready to come like conquer the Earth. And Justice League, Superman's like pounding on Steppenwolf, and then he like punches him, and he goes flying, and then Aquaman like smacks him with his trident, and he goes flying. He continues flying, and then Wonder Woman like jumps up and like Rah! And like decapitates him, and then the body like flies through the portal. So like they all like get a piece of him, right, as he's flying through the air, and then his body like flies through the portal and lands at Darkseid's feet, and his head like rolls off, and it's awesome. And so then Darkseid's standing there in the portal, and the Justice League's standing there on the other side of the portal, like, what up? And it was just like, like, don't mess with us, mother. You know what I mean? And it was pretty cool. It was a cool scene. It was a really cool way to end that scene. And then like the portal closes, right? And Darkseid's like, all right, we'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way. Ready the armada. So Darkseid's coming, right? And then we get the epilogue, which included the original like after credits scene, but it's a bunch of other stuff too, and it kind of wraps everything up really nicely. And again, like I said, you get the scene with Lex Luthor and Slade Wilson, what's his name, Deathstroke, right? You get that scene on the boat, and they actually have a different conversation than I remember them having in the first movie. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, because I know Lex Luthor was at the end of the original Justice League. He was like, "Shall we make a league of our own?" or something like that, right? And that line's not in this. They just basically talk about Batman. They're like, "So, Wade Wilson, you're willing to kill the Batman for free?" And he's like, "Yeah, because I don't like that guy very much." And that's the gist of the conversation. And then like towards the end of the epilogue, I'm like, so are we gonna see? Where's the Joker? Like, we're running out of time here. I'm looking at the clock, and it's like there are like 4 minutes left or something like that. And I'm like, where's the Joker? We haven't seen the Joker, right? Supposedly the Joker's in this movie, and but before that, Martian Manhunter shows up again, right? Like Bruce Wayne's having. Oh no, it's after that part. Okay, so Bruce Wayne's having this dream, right? And it's like the hellscape. Darkseid's taken over the world thing from Batman v Superman when he had that dream, and he's like in his brown duster and all that stuff again. But he's with the Flash, and it's a really odd team up. He's with the Flash and Mira again, and she's got like Aquaman's trident, and she's like, "Oh, he died, and I'm gonna avenge him," or whatever. And then Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. So it's those three, and they're like, marching off to find, I don't know, Superman's lair or something. And then, then Batman turns to the fourth member of the party, and it's the Joker. And so Jared Leto has his little spiel there, and it's kind of funny too, because like he turns to the Joker, and they just have this really long like conversation kind of, while the other two are just sitting there. And so the Joker goes on about how he murdered Robin, and how he's kind of like taunting Batman and all this stuff. And he mentions like, oh, Batman didn't have the balls to like sacrifice himself to save Lois, and now look what happened and all this stuff, right? So it's basically hinting at this future, Darkseid conquers the Earth story. And then of course they're like, oh no, he's found us, and it's like Superman comes down, and he's like evil Superman, right? And that's when Bruce wakes up from the dream. And basically, so I think Snyder here is just teasing like, hey, look what else I could maybe do if you guys are interested, Warner Brothers. But we know now that Warner Brothers they're just like not even going to do any more Snyderverse, which is sad. And so Bruce Wayne wakes up from this dream. Oh, and we have our second F word in the dream sequence, right? Because Batman's like, I will effing kill you one day, Joker. Mark my words. When Diana went to recruit Cyborg earlier in the movie, she's like, the world needs you, and he's like, F the world. So those were our two F words that I guess got us our R rating, along with that, a little bit of blood in that Wonder Woman scene with the terrorists. And there was like one scene where like where Steppenwolf like throws this Atlantean dude against a rock and like, you know, and then he slides down the rock and there's all this blood or whatever. So I don't know. I those four things were the R rating, I guess. Ooh, R rating, like whatever. I didn't think it really needed to be rated R, but you know, Zack Snyder, he's the dark and dark and gloomy guy, right? Dark and gritty. So I guess we had to have an R rating. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Bruce wakes up from this dream, and Martian Manhunter is like hovering outside his little glass house, you know, and he walks outside and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And Martian Manhunter's like, "Hey, I just want you to know, like, I'm here, so just in case, like, you guys need me or something, right?" And Bruce Wayne gives the exact same reaction that I had to this, which is just kind of like, "Yeah, okay, dude, sure, later," you know, like, and I'm like, why was Martian Manhunter even in this? Like, it doesn't. His scenes did not make any sense to me. And again, you know, like, I think fans wanted to see Green Lantern, maybe not Martian Manhunter, but we got Martian Manhunter for some reason. So, yeah, that's how it ends up. I think Snyder wanted to continue making stuff, but I think Warner Brothers. I think the problem here is like Zack Snyder making this and it being as successful as it is was basically like him saying, "Told you so, Warner Brothers." You know what I mean? Like the idiots at Warner Brothers decided to go a different direction, and it failed. And now here's Zack Snyder saying, "See, I told you so. Like, look what you could have had." And so obviously, like, Warner Brothers isn't gonna like. They're gonna be dicks. They're gonna be, you know, it's just like every corporation I've ever worked at, where like the bosses think, you know, they know best, and they're not gonna listen to you. And that's kind of how Warner Brothers is acting right now. They got showed up by Zack Snyder, and they're like, well, you know, yeah, okay, well, we're not gonna let you do. We're gonna go our direction anyway. You know, just to spite Zack Snyder, which is sad. So we're not gonna get any more Snyderverse. So that little tease at the end, of, you know, with Batman and Joker, I don't think we're gonna ever see that play out. But anyway, there you go. That's the Snyderverse, the Snyder League, I guess. The Snydercut. It was good. It's definitely worth a watch. And I guess this is it for the Snyderverse. So check it out, and I will sign off now and see you all in the next video. Yeah.